Okay, check, 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 check. Wow, what a wonderful group of future engineers and computer scientists. Let's start with a big round of applause. Well, hello, graduating class, College of Engineering of 2028. My name is Jerome Lavelle. I'm Associate Dean here in the College of Engineering. And on behalf of our entire Wolfpack family, I want to just warmly welcome you to this welcome from our college. And you may wonder, why have we brought you here this afternoon? And there are several reasons. Well, first, we want to make sure that you survived move-in, first day of classes, that you survived the Wolfpack Welcome Week and didn't eat too much ice cream yesterday. Want to make sure that you're all primed up for Packapalooza and that you're on your feet and you're doing well. And a lot of your moms called to ask us to check in on you, so we're doing that. But very seriously, the idea here today is for us to come together as a community as you begin your journey at NC State, to get you focused or refocused on why you're here. You probably remember in New Student Orientation, I talked about community of scholars and your role as scholars in this community of scholars and our values around respect, intellectual curiosity, integrity, and mutual support of each other. Today, we're going to give you an opportunity to meet some new people. You're going to meet our new dean. 1 year ago, he was new, so he's been here a year, Dr. Jim Fentner. We have a special guest, Mr. Gil West, who's a mechanical engineering alum, chief executive officer for Hertz. He's going to speak with you about his journey and give you some of his keys to success. So be prepared at the end of that to ask questions. We're going to have a Q&A session, so I wanted to prompt you on that. We're going to give you an opportunity to meet some new people also in your fellow students. And we're going to do that right now. So what I'm going to ask you to do, this is the audience participation part. Some of you walked over with friends from the dorms, and what I want you to do is meet new people. So we're going to stand, don't do it yet. When I say stand, we're going to stand, make eye contact with a new person, and do a little microburst introduction. Name, where you're from, your major, and you want to tell them something funny, that's great too. You're going to have only 30 seconds to do this. Okay, so everybody stand, find a new person or in groups of 3, and go. Everybody stop. Now, I don't know that All right, please sit down. Everyone, please take your seat. And thank you very much. Wow, that was so powerful. That was so great. We gave you an opportunity, and what did we just model? Just model. And we modeled that you don't have to do this thing alone in engineering. One of the most powerful resources you have will be each other. Study groups, you'll have peer learning. In accountability buddies, you'll be attending classes. You'll be watching for each other in terms of your mental health. You'll have a perspective stretchers, people that you might meet that look, think, and sound differently than you. So don't stay in a shell. Get out there and embrace your time here as a College of Engineering student. Before I turn things over to the Dean, I want to share with you a few more quick thoughts. In terms of your success here at NC State, there's nothing like getting off to a good start. And what does that mean? That means you want to harness the energy and the excitement that you're feeling right now, your goals, your passion, your motivation, and use those to be purposeful during your time here. There's nothing as valuable as your time in this endeavor called you and NC State. Plan your work your plan, get engaged, and develop outlets for that passion, that energy that we just felt. There are so many ways of doing this on campus. I want to talk a little bit about health very briefly. Be attentive to your health and those around you. Support each other. Use the resources that you're hearing about in class, like Counseling Center, CARES reports, and others. During your time in the first-year engineering program, the key phrase is to think divergently, to think broadly. During this first year in E102 and E101, you're going to be exposed to all of our great disciplines. And I want you to be thinking about those disciplines in your path here and then charting a path relative to that. When we get to CODA time, we'll find the right place for you. And I said a magic word there, CODA. And I want to tell you guys right now from this podium at our welcome at NC State, do not stress over CODA. CODA is out there. Do your best. When it comes time for you to apply to CODA, we've got a great guy, Dr. Parrish, who's going to help move you into a program where you can achieve and succeed the things that you dream about here at NC State. So don't stress about CODA. Dedication is a thing that we talked about in new student orientation. Don't miss class. Build networks. Have grit, hard work, and resiliency. That when we have, in the summertime, our summer camp experiences for a couple of thousand students in the K-12 space, one of the valuable lessons they learn in the habits of mind and the engineering design and the way that engineers think is the value of learning from failure. And I'm not promoting failure here at NC State. What I'm saying is as you go along and have that rocky roads, those rocky air, those times when you're challenged, learn from those experiences. Failure is an opportunity for evaluation, for design, redesign, change, and ultimately improvement and success. Remember what I told you in new student orientation, you don't have to be perfect here at NC State. Give a perfect effort, give a great effort, give your strongest effort, but then jump back on and keep moving to achieve your goals. So in the spirit of setting goals, dedication, grit, and hard work, I'm going to invite all of you to now, this is the second audience participation part. I want you to stand and repeat after me. This is the Dr. Lavelle Oath of Success. So everybody stand. Here we go. Repeat after me, please. I do sincerely profess my solemn commitment to make the necessary effort to set explicit goals and work to my ability to achieve them. I further commit to my health and supporting the health to those around me. Go Wolfpack. All right, good job, guys. Round of applause for that. Woo-hoo! Well, 90% of success, Woody Allen says, is just showing up. College of Engineering graduating class of 2028, go out there and not only show up, but show everyone who you are. Show them that you can achieve the potential that exists in each and every one of you. As our newest engineering family members, that's what we want for you, and that's exactly what we expect from you. We wish you much success, much happiness, and much personal and professional growth during your time here as students at NC State. We're in this together, and we couldn't be happier than to walk along your side during your journey here. Welcome to the class of 2028. At this point, thank you very much. At this point, I want to welcome our fantastic engineering dean, Dr. Jim Fintner. Give him a big round of applause, please, Dean Fintner.
Thank you, Jerome, and thank you, everybody, for the warm welcome. Let me also extend my enthusiastic welcome to the class of 2028. We couldn't be happier that you're here today. So some of you might be thinking, like, what is a dean? I didn't have a dean in high school. I don't know what that person is. Is he about to give me a quiz or a test? I spent the last year learning what a dean is, and let me assure you, I'm not giving you a quiz or a test today. You don't want to take it. I don't want to grade it. But one of the things I really learned about is my identity as your dean is one of your chief success officer. My job is to work with staff, faculty, other leaders around campus, and make sure each and every one of you has the opportunity to reach your full potential while you're with us. My office is in Fitzwillard Hall over on Centennial Campus, home of the ISE and CCEE departments. Uh-oh. You might get a quiz now. And one of the highlights of my day is walking across Centennial Campus, meeting students, seeing folks studying. And so after a boring summer, not seeing anybody over on Centennial, we sure are glad you're back. Now, you wouldn't be here today if you had not already experienced an enormous amount of success in high school, both inside and outside the classroom. You all have strong academic backgrounds from which to launch your engineering or computer science education. I know you worked hard to earn your spot here. And you have an incredible few years ahead of you. I can tell you that college changed me profoundly. And if you talk to anyone with an NC State degree, they will say something similar. You're going to be challenged in many, many ways as a student here, but you are going to make some of the best memories of your life. And our goal for you is to leave here as a changed person with the skills to be successful at whatever it is you choose to do when you set out in the world. I'm super confident that you and your families have done your homework. You are already aware that you have chosen an awesome place to learn, to become an engineer or a computer scientist. And I want you to know and be enthusiastic about the fact that you are joining one of the preeminent public colleges of engineering in the United States. Now, at the same time, I understand starting at a top college of engineering can feel a little daunting or intimidating. And in the coming weeks or months, you're probably going to find yourself experiencing a different kind of discomfort than you've become accustomed to as you stretch yourself and grow. And I want to share a little secret with you. The road to success is sometimes or almost always paved with a lot of speed bumps. And sometimes you might feel like you've been ejected out of the car and you're in the ditch. And I want you to know this happens to everyone, and I'm speaking from experience. So many, many years ago, when I was a chemical engineering student at Georgia Tech, I received a 0 on a midterm exam in an upper level class, in a class called mass transfer. Yeah, it's actually possible to receive a 0. Some of you might not know that. You might think you get points for putting your name. And some of you might be thinking, did they know that about this guy when they hired him to be dean? But let me assure you, I earned that 0, and I had worked super hard. I'd studied my tail off. I thought I had done everything right, and it was tough, as you can imagine. And what I did was what my friends had encouraged me to do. I doubled down. Importantly, I went to see the professor as often as I could. I asked for help, and I got 100 on the second exam. So I averaged a 50 for the semester. It's not bad. And I finished my degree. I bounced back, and it felt like a wonderful accomplishment to be able to bounce back from a challenge. When I meet new college students like you all, I like to share 3 things to help center your experience as new students in engineering. Number 1, you belong here. Number 2, you're safe. And number 3, intellectual struggle is an essential part of learning. You cannot learn without struggle. So indulge me for a moment. Everybody look to the person on your right. Everybody look to the person on your left. I want you to know every one of you earned your spot, each of you. You will all have our full support on your quest to earn an engineering and computer science degree. We picked you for a reason, and I know you belong here, and we could not be more excited to welcome you and support you to our college. And for most of you, this is your first time living away from family and being on your own. And this means that the next 4 years are going to be critical in shaping who you are and who you become as an individual when you set out into the world. You are going to be introduced to many, many new ideas. You're going to see many new perspectives, and you're going to meet many different types of people, much more than previously in your life. And I want you to be prepared. You're going to disagree with a lot of those people. You're going to disagree with a lot of those perspectives. That's not just okay, it is fantastic. One of the most important things you can do on your journey to becoming an engineering or computer science leader is to learn how to appreciate people with different perspectives from your own. And college is an awesome place to practice and do that every day. So I want to encourage you to dig into those difficult conversations and be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I want to briefly just address the idea of struggling and learning in your classroom. Some of you maybe breezed through high school, and the struggle that you will face as a student here might be the first time. It is essential that we, as your educators, remind students constantly of just how important struggle is for you to learn new concepts. And this isn't just wishful thinking or rah-rah, it's actual science. It's been documented, and you've all experienced it as well. So do me another favor, quick activity. Raise your hands as I call out something that you've experienced about yourself, and keep your hands up the whole time. Who's ever learned a musical instrument? Hands up. Who's ever learned a foreign language? Who's improved their performance in sport, theater, dance, or another art? Who's worked to become physically stronger? Who's done any self-care or self-improvement ever in your life? Who's learned how to dominate a video game or a board game? What about acquiring a new skill at your job? Okay, look around. Look around, everybody. All of your hands are up. Everyone in this room knows what I'm talking about. Everyone has already experienced struggle. You have a proven track record of struggling, meeting, and scaling those challenges. That's awesome. So you already know what kind of effort is required to grow and learn. Now, why would an engineering or computer science degree be any different? Why would it be any different? It's not. You have that experience. You have well-worn grooves in your brain and heart about the experience of struggle. And I want you to remember this when you're having a particularly tough time or week. As we step into this academic year, some, maybe all of you, are going to face some struggle as you build relationships, pursue your dreams, and so forth. That's fine. I want you to remember that you are now one Wolfpack. I want you to have each other's backs and hold each other up. When you struggle together, you succeed together as a team. I hope as you move forward this semester, you'll have the opportunity and time to take advantage of the many, many things we have to offer at this great university. Look into study abroad opportunities, go to the career fair, join an on-campus student organization, maybe become an undergraduate researcher or join the engineering ambassadors. Definitely take time to go cheer on our men's and women's sports teams on the field and court. And this is important. As you go forward from this day on, there is one person responsible for doing your laundry. And on behalf of your roommates, you need to take this seriously. You're supposed to laugh a little bit. Each year, we invite an alumni speaker to join this event. A few years from now, you will be part of the vibrant Wolfpack alumni community. And speaking of the support available to you, keep an eye out for the many opportunities you will have to meet our alumni on campus. They're always happy to meet you. Our alumni serve as mentors, scholarship donors, and volunteers across the entire college and university. This year, we are excited to be joined by Gil West, a 1984 graduate of the college with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Gil supports the college and our university in many ways, from serving as a member of our board of visitors to creating a lasting legacy through his scholarship endowment. In 2018, the college awarded Gil the Distinguished Engineering Alumni Award, which is the highest honor we give to our graduates. Professionally, Gil is currently the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO of Hertz, prior to which he held the leadership positions at Cruise and Delta. I have no doubt that Gil has put his engineering degree to good use, and he has plenty of wisdom to share with us today. Please join me in offering a warm welcome to Gil West.
All right. I think we have a video. If you guys could run it real quick. right? Well, the main part was the hoops, right? So let's get that out of the way. I still just get really goosebumps every time I see the 1983 Wolfpack win the NCAA championship. You know, it was a really special time. And I would just say that, you know, they were called the Cardiac Pack back then, and should have never even been in the tournament, much less win it, but they did. And I think it was just a proof point for all of us that were students that just anything is possible, literally. And I can tell you, I graduated the next year in 1984, mechanical engineering, and I can tell you firsthand, you know, I just reinforce that. Anything is truly possible. So I think it's an unbelievable time to be a student at NC State. So congratulations, first of all. Major accomplishment just to get here. And then, you know, I know that each of you really are at a crossroads of your life, right? And I'll just say that, you know, I was sitting where you were over 40 years ago now, but, you know, it's one of those things where, in my experience, the mechanical engineering degree that I received really unlocked a whole nother world for me, right? So I started in transportation and been in transportation most of my career. So I've seen almost end to end of it. Aviation originally, so commercial aircraft, military aircraft, business aircraft, but then automotive, you know, busing, trucking, self-driving cars, space, you know, just about everything in transportation. And I've been fortunate to have a career from starting as an engineer to CEO and board member of different companies, and also live coast to coast, just the most amazing cities in our country, and have, you know, traveled and done business literally around the world. All those things were unlocked with the education I had at NC State. So just along the way, you know, there's always lessons learned in life, right? So I picked up a few, and you know, so there's a couple I'd share with you probably just as reference to start. And the first one is just think of life as a bit of a metaphor as a car windshield, right? Your career, life in general, right? And there's a reason that car windshield, you know, is exponentially larger than the rear view mirror in your car, right? It's because what's ahead of you is far more important than what's behind you, right? So just keep that in mind as you're moving through your career. The second piece of advice came from this old guy named Yogi Berra. Anybody ever heard of Yogi Berra, by the way? A couple of hands, that's cool. So Yogi Berra, he was this kind of crazy guy that played for the New York Yankees a long time ago. And he had some pretty cool sayings. One of them was, when you come to a fork in the road, take it, right? So, I mean, you think about that intersection, you're kind of forced, all right, which fork am I going to take, you know? In my case, probably the first fork in the road that I experienced was here at NC State. Yeah, and one fork was marked basketball, the other fork was marked engineering, right? So a pretty tough choice. And at the time, the Wolfpack coach was this guy named Jimmy V. I saw his statue over here by Reynolds. He was a crazy guy running around trying to find somebody to hug in the video. And you know, he encouraged me to walk on to the team. And you know, I'd played a couple of years of college ball before coming to state, and had a lot of different opportunities to keep playing ball. But I chose the engineering fork in the road, right? And it was, you know, at the time, you know, especially in a couple of years when Wolfpack won the championship, you're going, oh man, I should have been a part of that. But I can tell you, I made the right decision, you know, for the right reasons, I think. One, I felt I could make a career, you know, earn a living in engineering, but see the world on top of it. And, you know, nonetheless, I still have a little piece of the championship, and I wore it for state. This is Lorenzo Charles championship ring. Lorenzo was a guy that caught the air ball and dunked it to win the game, right? So he passed away a number of years ago, but got a little piece of it with me, so I feel like I'm still, you know, a little bit connected through that era. But it was a great time, and this is a great place. So The other piece is the faculty here at State asked me to share some lessons learned throughout my career, and they framed it, I thought, with a couple of questions, but one kind of resonated with me, and it was a question that said, what would you tell your 18-year-old self if you could, right? So, it's an interesting way to look at it, kind of looking back and going, man, I wish I could have given myself some advice at that age, believe me. But I'll be quick here because I believe speed wins, so you got to be quick in everything. But in my mind, it comes down to kind of four truths, right? Kind of four things that have steered me through my career. I'll just touch on them briefly. The first one is NC State engineering and computer science, are really great foundations, and it's really a path to optionality. It gives you the ability to do a lot of different things, right? So again, congratulations for making the cut, right? You're one of the few. Many more applied to be a part of this program, and you guys are all really fortunate to be here. So that says a lot about your capabilities already. Shortly after I graduated, there was this song called "The Future's So Bright, You Gotta Wear Shades." It's kind of where you guys are right now, and you're in your career. But I'd just say, 40 years ago, I had no clue what an engineering career looked like. I had some vague ideas only because I had an uncle that was an engineer, but I had literally no clue about that. But for me, I was a gearhead, right? I grew up in my dad's auto parts store, so I loved all things cars. And happened to fly a little bit as a kid, so I got hooked on that, and pretty good in math and science, right? And did some homework, looked through and said, all right, what's the highest paying salaries by degree, right? And boom, engineering right at the top. So voila, it was, it seemed like mechanical engineering was the right fit, which is what I majored in. And I'll just say it was, my time at State, just a great education all around. And you'll probably find, too, there's some courses that you really gravitate to that you really like. For me, thermo was one, it's a bit of a washout course, I think. But for me, I just loved it. I don't know what it was. It took about 5 semesters of thermo. Heat transfer was another one. Turbo machinery I loved. Even chemical engineering I really enjoyed. And I know everybody loves differential equations, so if you guys, most of you probably hadn't had differential equations yet, or you would have laughed at that one. But it's, but Diffie Qs as we called them. So, but my secret is, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've never used another differential equation after I left NC State. Sorry, but you got to get through it though. So I think but the main thing I did learn at State, right, was problem solving skills. And look, you're being educated in a moment, right? There's a lot of things you'll learn, but the key is learn problem solving skills, because that really carries you forward in life and career. And that's what really unlocked my career, right? I started as an engineer at Boeing, right? Was part of the design and building the 757, 767 aircraft. Those are all retired now, but once upon a time at least. And then aerospace engineer in Southern California with what's now Raytheon, and then became vice president of engineering and operations at the airlines, and then eventually became COO and CEO of different companies, and probably most notably Delta Airlines as COO and Hertz now as CEO. But it's that, it's those problem solving skills, and the foundation of, having an education from State that really unlocked all that for me. I was a kid from the mountains of North Carolina, so for me it was a huge unlock. And the lesson in all that, right, that truth number one is you can come from humble beginnings, but with a great education, right, you can go out and conquer the world. So you're set up for that, for sure. Second truth I would share is, I call it run to the fire, right? And I'm not talking about, becoming a firefighter, although that's a noble trait, but it's more a metaphor for running to where the problems are, right? And that requires, just like a real firefighter, courage and selflessness. And what I'll say, though, is that it's those fires or problems that are the real opportunities for a career, right? If you go where the action is, there's very little downside. It's already messed up generally, and there's a ton of upside if you can impact it. But the key is leveraging your problem-solving skills to really impact the business. And I'll say a big part of that is simplifying the complexity of a problem, right? And you'll learn all this through your education here, but the key is dissecting what really matters, right? And that's true in business. So you're looking for the levers that you can pull to really impact the results. And then there's you learn the scientific methods of managing with data, and metrics and all of that. And it's really powerful in no matter what you choose to do, right? So, and I'll say my first turnaround that I went to, there was, I joined Northwest Airlines, and I was asked to run an engine shop. So this engine shop overhauled the aircraft engines, right, gas turbine engines, and I'll just say it was complete chaos, right? The production systems were broke, engineering issues literally everywhere. The culture was dysfunctional. Gosh, there was, we were bleeding cash. It was one of those things where, fix it or we're shutting it down. So it was very ugly. And, I was a young leader at the time, never seen anything like it, and then suddenly you're thrown into that. And to me, is about building a team, right? Putting the right group of people together. I had to dig really deep on industrial engineering processes, by the way. So how many IEs are out here? Any industrial engineers? Cool. Encourage you to read the book The Goal, by the way. It's by this guy, Ellie Goldratt, talks about 3 constraints. High impact. But those industrial engineering processes, again, managing with data, having the scoreboard, managing change, all those things, we were able to just drive just unbelievable results that turned the business around, changed the culture, changed everything. And then from that, just tons of lessons, right? And then from there, we went on to do this at just numerous companies, almost the same playbook, still almost the same team. And so, as you're going through that, the lesson in my mind really revolves around, building teams, and fixing things, and then that can really change your career and change your life as a result of that. So run to the fire, right? That's the second truth. Third truth is soft skills are a great differentiator. So I don't know, as engineers, we kind of got this stereotype about us, right? Everybody thinks we're antisocial or aloof and, all those things, right? And personally, I'm convinced there's just some knucklehead from Chapel Hill come up with that myth. But the reality is, if as an engineer, the bar is pretty low for us, honestly, which is a good thing in that sense. So if you can pick up some people skills along the way, man, it is a huge differentiator for you as a career. And then if you talk slow with a Southern accent, you get some bonus points too, because everybody thinks you think slow as well. So, which might be true in my case, but it works. So anyway, I think you'll find your rhythm. But I would encourage you to, because all of you will have chances to be a leader in your career. I have no doubt about it in my mind. If you're able to get through NC State engineering, computer science, you're going to be a leader, right? So you'll have those opportunities. So there's 2 pieces of leadership I would just point out that's going to be really important for you. And one is have personal humility. Second is have professional will. So the personal humility side, clearly it's about being humble, right? But which is always important probably in anything. But it's about putting your team ahead of you, right? And that's hard, but I think it's really key. The team is what's most important, right? And you're part of the team. And if you put the team first, people know that, hey, that's if you've got those priorities, they immediately trust you and know that you've got their best interest at heart. So I would encourage you, that's a key attribute, personal humility. Second one on professional will, this is about doing, making those tough decisions, tough calls, taking, doing the right things in a moment where it's really, really hard or even unpopular. But that's real leadership that people respond to because, there's a natural tendency as a new leader, you want to make everybody happy or appease folks. And that's not the right thing to do. If you do the right thing, everybody will follow. They know that you'll be competent as a leader, and they'll want to be on your team. So kind of the key lessons here in my mind as you're pursuing your engineering degree, just don't neglect, things like communications and leadership and business and just human interaction, learnings as you're part of it, because those are as valuable as the engineering degree. So, and they'll really differentiate you in your career. The fourth truth is keep learning, because the world changes fast, right? You're growing up in an era where you see that firsthand. The old saying, you snooze, you lose, it's more true than ever now. So world changes fast. And I've always thought of it this way, if you think about rate of change in the world, right now is actually the slowest rate of change you're ever going to experience going forward, right? Because change is accelerating, right? I mean, think about it. It's literally impossible to get your head around all the things that are going on, technically, even if you narrow the focus to that in the world. So, I mean, it's truly incomprehensible, and it changes really fast. So, the key is to keep up with that. And I think, especially with AI now, it's like a force multiplier on everything, right? So it's just kerosene on the fire for change. When I was sitting in this room, over 40 years ago, the big piece for us that was the accelerator was the advent of personal computing, right? So you think about what that's done to society, but at that point in time, just to reflect back memory lane for a minute, so I learned to program code, whatever it's called today, in Fortran on punch cards, okay? Who's heard of Fortran, by the way? Well, look at that. Yeah, there's a few hands. Not everybody. It's kind of, dead language now. Who's heard of punch cards to program with? Holy smokes, I'm blown away. There's that many hands up here. So these punch cards, they were about this big, paper cards. We put them in this thing, that looked like a typewriter with a keyboard on it. You punch Chad. Who's heard of a typewriter, by the way? Anyway, all right. I'm getting old, so you never know. So anyway, these things, we'd punch these cards out, right? And one card was a line of code, basically. So you would stack these cards up in this cardboard box. And there was a computer lab there that you did all this. And you would take it and put it in a shelf. You'd come back about 2 hours later. That gave, the techs time to run these cards, through the mainframe, and it would print out, whatever it is program you're trying to run. Of course, in my case, come back in 2 hours and a couple of lines ran, but then error, right? There was some error in a card. So you'd have to go back, fish that card out, figure out what the error was, fix it, punch another card, put it in there, do the whole thing over again, right? Take it back up there, go away for a couple hours, come back. You got to print out. Same thing happens, of course, 3 or 4 times. You finally get the program to run, and then you drop all the damn cards on the floor, and you're ruined, because you just lost everything. Now, you fast forward literally a year, I think it was my junior year maybe, and then, out of nowhere, we have a computer network. Right, and these were workstations, but they were all connected to the network. We were able to go in there and program on these things, run them real time, get the output, print it if we wanted. Right. I mean, this was like miraculous in my world at the time. Now you guys laugh at it because it's like archaic now. And then lo and behold, not too far after personal computers came out, we had these things called Apple IIe's and Commodore 64s and all these archaic machines by today's standards. My point is, over just a couple of years, radical change in that piece. So you're living in a time where it's really cool to see what's happening just exponentially with technology. So, embrace it, go for it. The key is, key lesson here though, of course, as the world keeps changing, you got to keep up with it, right? What you're learning now will be static. The key is keep learning as you go forward. You'll never know everything, and just make it a way of life. You wouldn't be in engineering if you didn't like to learn to begin with. So just keep going there, and that'll fuel you going forward. So, in closing, as famous, most should get an applause at this point probably, but in closing, I just ask you to savor your experience at NC State. I know I did. It's really an amazing time of your life. And as I said, I was sitting where you were 40 years ago. I saw a stat on one of the earlier charts. There were 64,252 living alumni. So my stretch goal is to remain on that list as long as I can. And I would encourage you guys to become an alumni from NC State. And I can guarantee you can do amazing things with your education here. So, I'll just echo what the dean said for a second, because I know firsthand how hard it is to go through the programs you're going through. It's hard. Let's not kid. You chose the road less traveled, right? It's a hard climb, and the key is just keep marching, right? Hang tough. You'll get knocked down a few times, and certainly I did, and it's key just to get up and keep going, and then before you know it, you've accomplished something that virtually nobody else has. So hang tough as you're going through there. Talked about, kind of what I would tell my 18-year-old self. Of course, run to the fires, as I mentioned, because you'll have the biggest impact of your career if you do that. Work on your soft skills and lead teams. It's going to be really key. And just keep learning, because there's always a better way. The Japanese have Kaizen is kind of their view of that. There's continuous improvement. There's always a better way, but internalize that, because if you embrace that, you'll enjoy learning, of course. And then just congratulations on being part of this program. You should be really proud that you've come to this point in your lives, so make the best of it. Won't be easy, but I know you'll be able to do it. So with that, just echo, go Pack, and thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it.
Let's give Mr. West a big round of applause. All right. That was fantastic. Stay up there, Gil. Stay up there, Gil. Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. So students, we're going to take a couple minutes here and answer some burning questions. So give us another 3 to 5 minutes. I know you've got a lot of things going on tonight. Just raise your hand, shout it out, I'll repeat it. Afterwards, after we adjourn, I'm sure Gil, Mr. West, would be happy to stay up front for a little bit before he catches his airplane. So we have a hand back there. Just stand up, tell me your name, and yell it out. So Jake said, what is the hardest year for you?
Man, that's a great question. Probably every dang year, it was pretty hard. I think for me, it was the year I took electrical engineering. Man, I just wasn't wired that way, and it was, like the good dean said, I was punished a couple of times in that class. So for me, just getting through electrical engineering was probably the toughest.
And I think that's really important. And I talked a little bit about this at New Student Orientation. There'll be some classes that rough you up a little bit. But again, survive in advance. Okay, here's a hand. What do you got?
Allie, how do you manage other fun activities while also trying to get deep into your field?
Okay, so Allie asked, Mr. West, how do you manage being a human being and a fun person who's 18 years old at this exciting place and staying focused on engineering?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, the easiest solution to that is just go to Chapel Hill, right? But you guys are better than that. So I would just say,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. I would just say, you got to find your balance, right? And everybody's have different capabilities. Like, you got to have fun, right? You got to have the experience. You got to make new friends, and these are friends that you'll stay up with for the rest of your life. So there's a balance, but there's a tipping point to that balance. And I think certainly as I went through, I saw a few people tip, and it's hard, and look, the reality is it's in my mind, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. It's what you're doing, I mean, you can go and have fun and cruise through, easy degree, easier school, and get through college. But you're going to pay for that for the rest of your life, candidly. But Yeah, if you can make
Okay.
it through here, you're downhill.
You got it. You got it. I got a question right here. Go right ahead. Stand up. Tell me your name. So Ethan's interested in how do you translate during your time here, kind of experiences and things will prepare him for an engineering job.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, first of all, I think the thing I love most about states, engineering type programs it's really geared around application, right, of engineering. Now, you can go into deep theory, right, but I just tell you, in terms of business, yeah, you care about theory. It's about application, how much impact you can have on the business, and that's where you'll get that advantage just through the educational process here. I know the labs are great because you get real world kind of feel for things. And then I would encourage you all to intern as you're going through. Now I know it's a balancing act and everybody wants time off, but those are great experiences, through all the companies I've been with over the years. We've tried to bring in a lot of interns, and some of those have worked out exceptionally well, and I've hired folks even when they went back to school full time and then later and brought on, and they've helped transform companies. So go out there, intern, take some risk with the different companies, see what you like, what you don't like, right? Because you may get exposed to things you're like, man, I don't know if I even want to do that. Other things, oh my gosh, it'll just keep you going for sure.
So I'm going to close off questions, and then if you have any, just come forward at the end. But guys, the reason we started this event some 24, 25 years ago was to put in front of you those students who are just like you. Guy from the mountains, students who come from out of state, whatever it might be. They've come here and used this experience to build a platform that they've jumped off on. So you heard about Northwest Air, about Raytheon. You heard about Delta. You heard about Hertz. These are the kinds of things that are out there for you, whether it's in industry, whether it's in academia, whether it's in other professions. This engineering degree, a computer science degree, is a powerful thing. So hold on to it, work hard, get through any rough air that you have in front of you, have that grit and determination, survive and advance, because you can do it. I know that you can do it. We have a little gift here for you, Gil, from our engineering ambassadors. We want to thank you very, very much for your time and coming and being a great icon for our students. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, take care, be well, go to class, and go Wolfpack.